party people and magic makers? Destiny here. Today, we're going to talk about fear, baby. Yes. Okay, so I was going to do this whole song and dance thing, and I was like, nah, let's just cut straight to the chase, right? Because that's what you're here for. So, as you know, every Monday, I hit you up with a mindset video. And this is so that you have tools to get us through this crazy COVID time, this Rona time, right? Tools to help you move forward and to stretch your mindset and to get you out of your comfort zone, right? Because that's where the growth happens. That's where the amazing stuff happens. And so I feel like today's video will really stretch you because it goes against what a lot of people have learned, and that is this. So when you are afraid, when you have fears, when you're scared about something, we were not taught to just go ahead and express it and share what we're thinking and what we're feeling with everybody, right? I don't remember there being a high school class about it. I don't remember being sat down and like, hey, this is what you do. It didn't happen. So in this video, what I want to talk to you about is actually speaking and saying your fears out loud. Now, I know there are going to be a lot of people that are like, no, but then you're going to give it a voice. No, but then you're going to like put it out into the world. Yep, you sure are. And here's why. When we keep our fears and what we're afraid of and what we're scared of in, it does no good to our bodies. None at all. We keep the tension and all of that in our necks and in our upper shoulders. The fear can be held in our stomachs, and like you can actually feel like there's like a little ball or a little pit in your tummy when you don't get this stuff out of you, right? And you keep it all in. Another thing that happens is the fear turns into like a nervousness and then into an anxiety, and so it feeds into that cycle, right? You're anxious about something, you're afraid of something, you're anxious, you're afraid, you're anxious, you're afraid, and it keeps going in this cycle and there's no end to it, which then puts you into a bigger spiral, okay? The other thing I want to caution you about when you're sharing and talking and saying your fears out loud is who you're saying it to, right? There are some people out there that would totally use what you say against you, and hopefully by now you've learned who those people are or the type of people that they are so you avoid this. But I want to give you a trick or a tip / tool that you can use that doesn't involve you talking to anybody about it, or to say it to anybody in particular, to specify that. The other thing I want to caution you when you are, if you do choose to speak it to someone, is it someone that you're going to want to take advice from, okay? You don't want to talk to somebody and then just, unless all you're doing is looking to get it out and then you just want to get it out, you have to tell the person this. Because what's going to happen is they're going to want to help you and they're going to want to support you. Now, when I speak my fears out, I am looking for solutions that are outside of me and outside of my head. So I do go into this saying, hey, I'm going to say these are what I'm afraid of and I want to brainstorm. Or, hey, I want to do this. Or, hey, I am looking for solutions, right? If that's the place that I'm in. If I'm not, I say that. Because you want to prepare the other person so that they don't just jump right into solution mode when that's not what you want, or that they can jump into solution mode if that's not their norm, right? And of course, this is again with a person that you trust and that you know won't use it against you and that will support you, okay? So just make sure you've got those things there. Okay, so now, the tip, the trick, the tool. When you are speaking your fear, I like speaking my fear out, just out to nobody in particular, and just saying it, okay? So for example, I'm just like walking around my house and I feel this sense of fear. Let's say it's about money, okay? And then I gotta sit there for a little bit and figure out what is this thing about money that I'm feeling. And I'm like, you know what? During this Rona time, I haven't been making a whole lot of money. Will we have enough? I am afraid that we will not have enough money. And I just say it. I just put it out. And what tends to happen in my body is there's a release. Like I don't feel the heaviness on my chest. I'm not carrying it in my neck or my shoulders. And that feeling in my tummy or wherever you carry your fear, it starts to dissipate. And like that, it almost feels like a heavy bowling ball. It starts to kind of unwind and unravel itself, right? And so when you want to do this, get very specific as to what you're afraid of. It's not necessarily just a blanket statement like I'm afraid about money. What are you afraid of about money? Okay? What are you afraid of about your health, someone else's health, your relationship, someone else's relationship? What are you looking at? Is it your business? Is it your personal life? What specifically is it? Okay? And here's what'll happen. Like I said, there's that release, there's that lift that'll come up. And so some people are like, oh, but Destiny, I thought that we weren't supposed to go out and like say it because then that's what we're going to put into the world. Okay, I mean, if that's what you want to believe, sure, you can. But why couldn't you put it out into the world that, hey, and you have the universe be the person, the thing that's listening to you, and you're like, hey, this is what I'm afraid of and I'm looking for solutions. And hey, by the way, make them so that I notice that they're a solution and make them easy, right? Like, why couldn't we get that? And then we just say it and we get it off of, literally get all of this off of our chest. Because what's happening is we're holding it all in. And if you look at people, you can tell by their posture, they're like contracting into their body. They're rolling into their body. They're like holding themselves in, right? Throat chakras are all stuck because we're not saying the things that we want to say because of this fear. Right? One of the fears that came out for me is that if I say what's truly on my mind and what I really want to say, people are not going to like me. Guess what? I said it and then I was like, well, that's really silly. Right? Like that's ridiculous. But I had to say it and get it out in order for me to be like, wait a minute. And that's what can happen once you start saying your fears out loud. Walking around, like one of my clients, she works in her garden. And she'll just say this. And she talks to her plants. And she's like, hey, plants, this is what I'm feeling right now. Right? Whatever it is for you on a walk. Just on a walk and you just start saying this stuff. Just to get it out of you. To unlock your throat chakra. To say it. To get it off of your chest. Out of your tummy. Out of your body. Is super, super important. And what does that have to do? That causes you to trust yourself and trust yourself more because you're trusting what you're saying. Even if you're scared, you're like, nope, I trust that this is what I'm feeling. That doesn't mean I have to continue feeling this way. That doesn't mean that this is how I'm going to feel forever. Once I get it out, I trust that I can find the solutions, that the solution will come to me, that I know the right people with the solutions. But you got to get it out. Keeping it in, nobody can read what's going on in you. You got to get it out. You got to say something. Okay? So practice that. Practice walking around the house and just saying, I'm afraid of, I'm scared of, right? I did this the other day and I was like, I'm honestly afraid of my husband's health, right? It's not the best. Things keep coming and I'm like, all right, so now what? What's the solution to this? How do we just blanket knock this stuff off? And guess what? Solutions started coming. Random ones, didn't expect them. Some flipping through Facebook, some like a call. But like things just started kind of occurring that I was like, oh, it works when you start talking about it. Okay? What also happens is it makes the big, big jumbo fear smaller. And it makes it teeny, teeny, tiny, which is a lot easier to deal with. It's a lot easier to deal with the teeny, tiny fear than like a big whopper one. But you gotta talk about it. So let's start talking about our fears. What are we afraid of? What are we truly afraid of? So that we can get out of that. Okay? And just like get it out of us. All right? Okay, so until next week, peace.